Monday morning Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. The physical delivery of wealth insurance. Gold and silver, it is what we do. How you doing out there? Happy Monday, if you can say that, because it's Monday, which means all of us are back to work. Here in Arizona, a lot of people, you know what? I'm going to say a lot. I don't know. I've only talked to like one person today, and that was Wendy. Both of us were woken up early this morning. A huge hailstorm came through town. Yeah, we don't see that very often, but we had hail this early, I guess last night, early morning, and woke a lot of people up out of bed, so I'm a little sluggish, but other than that, things are absolutely wonderful. The World Series is set. The Dodgers and the Red Sox, I hate them both, so nobody cares. Football, who cares? Basketball, yeah, I hate to say it, who cares as well? But there's always college football and college basketball to get you going. That's our sports for today. You know, I was thinking about the show that Glenn did on Friday. So I didn't do the show. Glenn was doing the show, and he was trying to give you a little history of the Saudi monarchy and the guy that's running it. And of course, the big news about this reporter that they killed him. They did. And you know, the president is one of the things that I love about is he's a straight shooter. Right now, you may not like how he says it. And I think all of us at one point or another have cringed at how he says things. But he's usually, a very straight shooter, and he's not being on this. And it just has been, one of the things is in our little group with myself and Glenn and Jason, Brian, we've been talking amongst ourselves, and they talk about how this reporter, this AP, apparently worked for the AP or the Washington Post or whatever it was, and I apologize for getting that fact incorrect, that he was critical of the Saudi regime. And you would almost leading you to believe, right? Because when you say that, when you think of Saudi Arabia, right, you think about how poorly they treat women, how poorly they view Western society. Like, they don't even want you to watch a movie, right, an American movie or music or this. One of the things that this new monarch is doing is loosening those controls. And this guy, this reporter, is part of the Muslim Brotherhood. And for those of you that have heard that name before, not exactly big fans of the United States. And he was very critical of reforms like that. Now, does that mean he deserves to get killed? Absolutely not. But it's just one of those things that they do omit that, hey, you know what? This guy didn't like, women driving cars and music and being able to go watch a movie or things, that's kind of what this guy stood for. And why would he have a job? But forget that. I won't even go there. But that can't be it, right? That's not why. And one of the things that Glenn touched on in his report last week, talking about, remember very on when this guy came to power, he arrested a lot of the richest people in Saudi Arabia. And by arrest, what they did is they put them in the nicest hotel in the country that they had and said, hey, none of you guys are leaving until you write a big check. Right? And essentially, hey, you know what? We're going to take your wealth. I can't confirm it. I don't have a source that I trust to report on it. But again, I'm trying to figure out why it is that Trump just wouldn't be like, hey, obviously you butchered this guy and we got to do something. You know, he's trying to not go down that path. People have speculated that a lot of these people that got detained, and not just the rich guys that they took all the money from, but he's the new monarch there. He's detained a lot of people. That a lot of these people that have been detained were call it through backdoor channels, people that we had asked him to detain that maybe had something to do with 9/11. I don't know. I can't verify it. But something big like it's got to be. I mean, that's just the way it's got to be something big like that, don't you think? Otherwise, why would he just not come out and say, "Hey, you can't do that" and all this stuff? And anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because unfortunately, Fake News Friday ran long last week, and then Glenn wasn't able really to get to where he wanted to go. But I wanted to point that out. First of all, right, the reporters go safe. Not that the monarch's a saint either, but there's something bigger here. I just don't know what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Patriot Radio News Hour. I know. You never know what I'm going to say. We'll be back right after the break.
By now the fighting will be close at hand.
800-951-0592. Before we get to the caravan heading towards the United States, I would like to say this. Can we limit the amount of ads that are on TV? I mean, if I see another Martha McSally, Christine Cinema ad, I can't stand it. I mean, and sometimes they'll play like back to back to back, like the whole it's all these political ads. It's horrible. And of course, most of them are negative. That's another. We should outlaw that too. Listen, just tell us what you stand for, and let us go from there. But anyway, I don't know. That was one of the things that bothered me, and I don't know how it is anywhere else, but it just seems like this is a big, a lot of money being spent, which just means, as everybody's on the take, term limits. I'll keep saying it. We need term limits in Congress, but nonetheless, that's just my 2 cents. I got to talk about it. I was going to ignore it. I didn't want to bring it up. But is this really what people want? Well, now the number has the last number I saw was now this caravan is over 7,000 people. And you think about it this way. 7,000 people that may or may not speak English. It's safe to say the vast majority don't speak English, which it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a fact. Right? It makes it hard. Right? It makes it hard for them. It makes it hard for people trying to communicate. Just a fact. Most of them are extremely uneducated. And I think it's safe to say the vast, vast majority of them are going to be paid for by the taxpayer. I am a taxpayer, and I don't want to pay. And a lot of the people that are taxpayers don't want to listen. We're broke enough, right? We've got our own problem, and of course this is one now. It's just one of these things of whether it's Soros or whoever, these organizers now, and they're sending tens of thousands of people all at once to the border. I know this. The president was out. I'll give Mexico, and they tried. Right? Mexico did their best to try to disperse them. This morning, the president said that they're going to start curtailing aid to 3 Central American nations that comprise the vast majority of this caravan. And I think it's a great idea. He says that calling it a national emergency, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador were not able to do the job of stopping people from leaving their country and coming illegally to the United States. We will now be cutting off or substantially reducing the massive foreign aid routinely given to them. Right? And, of course, again, we have this horrible policy of giving money to people that aren't our friends. But you know what? Let's face it. We've all lent money to friends. We may be the recipient of the money that a friend had lent you. And you know what? We always say the same thing, right? What do you say? What is always said when talking about lending money to your friends? Everyone, don't do it. Right? Don't do it. Maybe that's why we lend it to our enemies. I don't know. Because they never pay you back. Right? And this is it. This is another example, right? The UN, NATO, right? All of these other examples of, hey, we got these deals with our buddies, but we're the only one that ever pays. And this is just another example. Here it is. We give hundreds of millions of dollars to aid to these countries, and this is how we get repaid. Trump also said that, that he is calling for the U.S. military and the Border Patrol to be ready, that this is a national emergency. In 2016, so it's a little old, but, it's hard to get this data real time. Well, I don't know why. Should be able to. We provided $131 million in aid to Guatemala, $98 million to Honduras, $68 million to El Salvador. And so you kind of, think about, hey, listen, let's just take that money and we'll use it to care for the people that are coming here and buy them a plane ticket back to wherever they were from. Problem solved. Listen, if you want the aid, then stop them from coming. I think that's a great idea. At least 5 immigrants. Now, the number has grown, mostly Honduran. So, that just so you know, Guatemala said another 1,000 were from there, and assume the other 1,000 was from the other nation. And I think this is a very interesting. This is what we want, really. This is what we want. We want, and we know this is nothing. I mean, really. Let's just say by the time they get here, it's 10,000. It's nothing. We have hundreds and thousands of people every day illegally coming in, and now with a huge crowd, there's no telling who's coming in. Does it mean, are there terrorists in there? I mean, I don't know. Could be. Are there gang members in there? I think it's pretty clear. I don't think there's an argument there. Of course, yes, lots of them. Are there people with mental illness? Yes, lots. And of course, right, the other people, I get it. Yeah, I want a better life. Well, constitute change where you're from. But either way, I didn't want to. I know other people will cover it more at length. Listen, this is just an economic thing. I think this is a great idea. Set aside all the aid from all of these nations that are flooding our shores and bringing people in illegally, and just start taking it off the bill. Right? We're gonna when they get here, we're gonna treat them humanely. We're gonna shelter them. We're going to feed them. And then we are going to put them on a plane back to wherever it is they came from. And we'll just take that off of the money we told you we were going to give you. Right? And then once that money runs out, well, I guess we'll have to do something else. But at least in this case here, that's hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know how much it would cost. Here's the sad part. Probably going to cost us more than that. But maybe it'll get them to think twice and to do better. Anyway, enough about that. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, Dow's down again today, down a couple hundred more points as we get further into this. And again, I've been telling you this. The Dow and the S&P, the NASDAQ, were trading at PE levels that were significantly higher than we've ever seen before. And let's face it, over the last several decades, this has been the trend. PE ratios used to be 8. Just to give you perspective, and they were 8 for 100 years. It wasn't really until the last 30 years that they've said, we can have higher PE ratios. A lot of it having to do with what the central bank will bail us out. But think about this. Dow is at 25,000. Matter of fact, it's trying to hold on to 25,000. If you use a PE multiple of 8, the Dow would be somewhere between 10 and 12,000. Right? The fact that it's this high, remember they said rates are 0, so therefore we can have these super high PE ratios. Well, rates aren't 0 anymore. Now, I've been warning you about this for a while. I told you what the tax cuts were going to. Listen, I've told you everything all along. I will say this. I did not anticipate that the tariffs, the trade war, was initially going to be bad for gold. I missed it. I did. I didn't see that. I told you, you go back February, March, I said, gold's going to be $1,400, $1,450 by the end of the year because the dollar was falling. And I thought the dollar would fall even more because of the tariffs. I was wrong. Well, I was wrong initially. I'm going to be right, but I was wrong initially, right? Everything about great news. And remember, everybody, these guys, these great news people, everyone's just going to agree to whatever we want. And I'm like, no, they're not. China's not going to. Europe's not going to. Mexico, Mexico was not that hard. We really don't have a trade deficit with them. It's pretty balanced. Same thing with Canada, and even Canada was tough. The EU, I remember Wilbur Ross last week. The EU, not doing anything. Right? Nah. China, nothing. And it hasn't been until recently that people are starting to pay attention. If you're watching the Idiot Box now, every day for the last, 10 days, ever since the correction has started, they're all talking about how strong the dollar is and how it's killing U.S. companies. It's killing earnings. This morning, Jim Cramer was back out. And remember, I've been playing him a lot lately. And he's the guy, he's the face of Wall Street trying to lead the charge to get the Federal Reserve to stop raising rates. We are going to see more and more bad earnings. This was Cramer. He was on CNBC this morning. 5% mortgage is the end. They're talking about a 30-year fixed. Right now, I think it's 4.85 or 4.9, almost at 5. This is the line in the sand. The mortgage rate is very high in this country. It's only high in the last 10 years. I mean, every other year, if you go back and say, okay, it's not 2007 to 2018. Take any other year outside of there was a little brief window right after 9/11. These rates would be at historic lows. But again, let's shape the conversation. In recent weeks, Kramer has been critical of the Federal Reserve, saying the central bank is not taking into account signals of a slowing economy, particularly in housing, right? And, of course, I told you housing was done a couple of months ago. I warned you then. Months ago. Now he's out and he's saying, hey, we've got a problem on Wall Street, and I want to get to it here. Give me a second. I gotta get it up. They call it the troubling trend. And I know you'll still hear people talk about corporate profit. I want you to set that aside for a minute because we know the tax cuts really help. What's really important is sales. We're going to talk about sales when we get back.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, presenting a daily conservative pro-family perspective since 1983 and continuing the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. Now, from the Phyllis Schlafly Center Studios, Ed Martin.
A recently published study in The American Sociologist reveals reasons why conservatives express increased skepticism of science when compared to moderates or left-leaning individuals. Many researchers and political commentators commonly attribute the decades-long decline of trust to ideological defensiveness on the part of conservatives. However, Nathan Kofnas and his research team at the University of Oxford offer an alternative view of the data. According to their research, the issue isn't conservatives attempting to shield their beliefs from scientific inquiry, but rather it's caused by many scientists introducing their own political notions into their research. For example, Kofnas and his colleagues refer to a 2007 incident where the former president of the American Political Science Association, Robert Putnam, reported that he had delayed publishing findings about the negative effects of diversity until he had developed proposals to compensate for them. In his own words, Putnam states that it would have been irresponsible to publish the paper without that. The study notes the disturbing implication of Putnam's actions. If he could not reconcile his research with the key liberal tenet of diversity, then it would never have been responsible to publish it. Furthermore, the Kofnas study explores how the many fraudulent and sensational papers produced by Dietrich Stoppel escaped serious review for so long. His work focused on such topics as how whites or men can be easily persuaded to discriminate against blacks or women. How was he able to elude discovery for so long? He stated himself that he was just giving social scientists what they were waiting for, given the state of their literature. His belief reveals quite a bit about the common characteristics of his field. Indeed, he was not the only one to overtly insert political bias into academic research. The entire field of sociology is rife with what the study terms impact scientists, inserting their own opinion into their reports. At the end of the paper, Kofnas and his colleagues predict that should liberal bias be consciously rooted out and the social sciences diversified, conservative trust in scientists will grow.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. What's the best way to rekindle the spirit of Phyllis Schlafly and the grassroots movement she energized? In this digital age, patriots and pro-family Americans can find insight and inspiration on our website, phyllisschlafly.com. Then share your own heart and mind on social media. So join us at phyllisschlafly.com and every weekday for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. The Dow is down 195, 200 points, 25,250. So we're 250 points away now from going back below 25,000. The S&P is down as well. The Nasdaq's still trying to hang on to some positive territory. Of course, they've been hit really hard, 7,400 and change on the NASDAQ. Gold's down $3, a little out 3 and change, 370 right now, 1222 on gold. Silver, same thing, down about 5-6 cents on silver as well. I've got a, you know what? I'll just tell you now. We've got, it's a weird number, but you remember the other week we were working through an estate. And this estate, it was a big, big one. Jason, I want to say on Friday, we now have enough of another item. This is another item we don't normally carry. Oh, by the way, anyone that ordered those sets, remember the 10th ounce, the quarter ounce, half ounce, they're all gone, all shipped. The peace dollars, everything, all of that stuff from the estate from last week is been shipped, and or if you're picking up, we've called you to come get it. In there, as we go through this, and it's probably going to take us, we'll probably be this week and maybe even part of next week, still dealing with this one estate. We have 39, I know it's a weird number, but it is what it is, 39 quarter-ounce American Gold Eagles. A lot of you got those in your sets. These are all mid-state 69, and I think they're all, and I'm going to say, and don't quote me on this, but I'm almost positive that all of them are first strikes as well. And again, you know I don't care about that stuff. But nobody in the country is selling a quarter-ounce American Gold Eagle, MS-69 First Strike, or any other kind for what we're selling them for today, $340, which is that's just a straight-out darn good price for a quarter-ounce Gold Eagle, period. So I've got 39 of those. Pick them up. Fractional gold is always a great thing. The fact that they come in a case, that's nice. You know, maybe in 5 or 10 years, will that be worth an extra $5 or $10? Maybe, maybe 20. I don't know. Now, if you hand it to your grandkids and they are smart enough to hang on to maybe 50 years from now, just because it's an MS-69 and it's a first strike and all this, could it be worth maybe an extra $50? Yeah, maybe. Good. Right? That's always a good thing, but we're buying it for the gold content. So I've got 39 quarter-ounce American Gold Eagles. They're at $340 today at 800-951-0592. Silver, if you want to buy silver, wait for tomorrow. Give me till tomorrow. We're working on something. We're working on it. We'll see what we can do. But as far as gold goes, if you called me up and said, Joe, I want your best deal, that's it, right? This quarter out, that's the best bang for your buck, $340, 800-951-0592. Now, let's go back to Wall Street. Listen, I want it to do well. I do. But I'm also a realist. Listen, the Dow was up, 30-something% since Trump got elected. So pretty much, most of that gains were last year. What do we think's going to happen? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. Probably, not only does it got to level off, it's got to go down, right? Because we know historically those things don't last, and you don't get those gains like that. But let's talk about the earnings. Why is it that the correction that, this is a normal correction? Of course, I said, no, it's not. Why is there more likely to be more pain to come? Why is Jim Cramer all of a sudden, why is he so worried? Matter of fact, he was praising Jay Powell a month ago. Oh, Jay Powell, he's doing a great job. I really like him. He's very sensible. Now he's we want Janet Yellen back. The guy he's entertaining, he's passionate, he believes in what he's saying. So what is it that has him so freaked out? Well, it's twofold. Number one, it was a free ride. He knows that. And yes, the tax cuts helped hide it. Corporate earnings over the past 2 weeks, and listen, this is third quarter, which is still, listen, third quarter is going to be a good quarter. It is. I'm hoping, I think 3.5 is like low. I'm hoping, 3.7, 3.8 as far as the GDP number goes. Now, fourth quarter is going to get, I'm hoping to stay at 3. I'm hoping not to go below 3, but it may not happen. It says that the 20% of the S&P 500 has reported thus far. So we got a pretty good sample size. 3/4 of the 140 companies that have reported third quarter earnings beat the estimate for profits. And, of course, I always laugh because obviously we don't do a very good job of making estimates because every quarter it seems to be 3/4 of them beat. But profits, don't confuse activity with accomplishment. And that's how you got to view the profits from this year, because with these tax things, the amount of what I'll call paper profits has exploded. While that strength is encouraging, those same corporations have been less than stellar when it comes to hitting the revenue target. In other words, that's sales, right? Okay, all BS aside, right? I know, right? We can left pocket, right pocket, back pocket, put it in my shoe, right? All the games that corporations get to play with taxes. And let's face it, right? We gave them a nice gift. That tax cut equated to some real money. Did it actually equate to more sales? I'm going to give you that answer. I think it's why Kramer's so worried. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Two lines open. Remember, and most of you know already, if you're on hold, just stay on hold. Give us a minute. Wendy will get to you. It's real simple. I want the special. How many would you like? And you just tell her, and we'll handle it from there. The MS-69 first strike, right? All the glory of the quarter-ounce American Gold Eagle. A great fractional coin. Nobody's selling it for what we are today. $340 on an MS-69 first strike, quarter-ounce American Gold Eagle. This came out of an estate that we bought about 10 days ago. It takes us a while because there's a lot of stuff in there. And as we go through it, when we have something that we can put on the air, we'll do it. So there we go. She just got done with the call. So just that quick. So 3 lines open, 800-951-0592. What has the market so scared? I think Jim Cramer, I think he's got a pretty good idea. Talking about sales. Right? And again, profits are great. They are. Right? We all want to make money. But you cannot continually make money without sales. You can do it for a little while, right? You can play left pocket, right pocket. We know the game. So far, in the third quarter, only 58% of companies that have reported have beaten revenue estimates. That's the weakest reading in years. Well, at least going back to before Trump got elected. So this is going back into the Obama era, right? And this is kind of really what I expect to continue because Cramer has it right. Sorry. But they made the cost of money more expensive. Right? So you're like, what? Housing costs more, cars cost more, credit card debt costs more, right? Everything costs more. Companies are now having difficulty meeting sales expectations. Companies have reported that sales are just 0.5% above the estimate. To put that in perspective, that's the worst number in 5 years. The worst number in 5 years. The soft revenue numbers are weighing on Wall Street because they know what happens after that, right? Sales are soft. That means what? Next quarter's earnings are going to be soft. We know about prices rising, right? The tariffs starting to take the bite. And, you know, you have corporations, and they're talking about the dollar, and they're talking about tariffs, and they can talk all they want. At the end of the day, are you selling things or are you not? And when you're not, your stock's going to suffer, and that's what we're in for. So prepare or don't. But again, this is needed. You know, you look at the stock market and what it's done, and you just say to yourself, okay, we're going to have some trouble now. On Friday, so go back, so I wasn't here Friday. One day after Russia and the Chinese pledged to reduce their reliance on the dollar. By the way, they signed a massive trade agreement. Pretty much now, not everything. They still don't have it set up for everything. And this is something people don't realize. You still can't buy everything you need if you're a country without the dollar. But every 90 days, seemingly, you can buy more things without it. Russia and China essentially have agreed that, hey, we're going to go and we're driving to where everything we trade will be done in something other than dollars. That's huge. But it's gotten a step further. According to the Russian Central Bank, it provided the latest update on the alternative to the U.S.-dominated international payment system network, SWIFT. Right? I never thought I'd ever be talking about SWIFT. Not the trucking company, not that SWIFT. This is how countries buy products. Used to be everything was bought in dollars. So it just made sense that the United States had the system that processed all the payments. When our president comes out and says, I have put sanctions on this country, this is how they do it. They essentially will go into the SWIFT system and block anybody from trying to buy, as an example, Iranian oil. Hey, nope, can't do it. And for decades, you had to live with it because it was the only system out there. Of course, I've been telling you how they're working very hard now on a new one. Russia is updating their own. They started this system in 2014, and they use it only in their own country. But as of Friday, Russia announced we are now ready for foreign companies to join the system. Of course, the first country that said we're joining, China. I'm going to tell you the others. These are the other friends of the United States. 800-951-0592, the quarter ounce American Gold Eagle, MS69. I think they're all PCGS, First Strikes, all that stuff for the very low price, $340. Just call up and say you want the special. And obviously, as most of you know, this is how we support ourselves. When you do business with us, that's what keeps us here, giving you the news. Big news. This is big, big news. Of course, the static picks up when I've got the big, big news. Russia now saying foreign companies are signing up for its alternative to SWIFT. They call it the System for Transfer of Financial Messages. Turkey, China, India, amongst others, are interested and have been signing up, according to the Russian finance minister. They said that Russia is not the only country building a SWIFT alternative. Of course, we've been talking about this for a while. Russia, China, along with the EU, launching an interbank payment network known as the Special Purpose Vehicle, right, to help countries and companies get around the United States Iranian sanctions. And I'm just going to tell you, this is, hey, we wanted competition. This is it. Everybody now can buy, and it's not, I don't want to make it sound like we can buy everything, but it's getting there. I would venture to say within the next 14 months, by the end of 2019, getting into 2020, my guess is that most, if not all, the commodities in the world will be able to be purchased in something other than dollars. This is new. We haven't seen this since World War II, right? We won World War II. We put Bretton Woods into effect. Everybody had to buy things in dollars. And then even though Bretton Woods expired, there was no other alternative to the SWIFT system. There is today. Matter of fact, there's going to be several of them. And you start to think about what all of these, remind you what Hungary did. This is a central bank that essentially really in modern times has never bought gold. They went from 3 metric tons to 33 metric tons? Well, 31 or 32 metric tons in 2 weeks. All of these countries bringing their gold home, all of these countries adding to their gold holdings. Is it tied to these payment systems? Is this going to be, hey, this is why you want to leave the dollar? You're dealing with countries with gold holdings and the like. I don't know. Is it going to be because they're getting ready for the collapse of the fiat currencies? That is the most likely one to be. Right? I mean, it's laughable. How are we going to sell all this debt? Especially now, countries that never before have they been able to hold less dollars. They've never been really able to. Be your own central bank. 800-951-0592. Those quarter-ounce slab gold eagles at $340. Got 2 lines open. Tomorrow, hopefully, fingers crossed, we may have a huge special in silver.